Here's your weekend market review for Saturday, February 8th, 2025. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market review. Saturday, February 8th, 2025. Interesting day in the market. Again, as we've talked about, there's more risk to the downside than upside, but you know what? The market's been in a big choppy zone. We've noticed this reoccurring tendency. Again, Jay Soltis talked about it in the Discord room. You have Friday, Monday downs, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday up. It seems to be the reoccurring pattern until otherwise. Well, we know going into next week, we have inflation data. We'll see how that plays out, right? You have retail sales. It's just going to be one of those weeks where earnings are starting to taper off. You have a few names that are going to be coming up, but nothing major. Just keep in mind, though, that data, especially for inflation, will really affect, I think, bonds. It might not affect the market as much as a lot of people might think. But again, we're going into like the end of what you would consider earnings. But also remember, if you go look at the Stock Traders Almanac, you go look at some of the resources in the Discord room, I've talked about this phenomena. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But again, there's a typical seasonality, and it's right here. There's typically mid-February until the end of the month. You get stronger profit taking in February. If that happens, then I think you know what's going to happen. Again, if you're new to the channel, want to check out the Discord room, link description below. Tons of resources, tons of information, tons of things to learn. If you're learning to trade, you want to buy, sell, invest in real estate, you want some of that mailbox money, let me know. Hit me up. Check out. Oh man, some of these links are gonna slow to root. I apologize. Yeah, if you want to join the Calendly, get a Calendly link. Take 30 minutes. Let's chat. See how I can help. Also, follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Twitter, posting the best trades. Man, if you hit, man, we talked about this one on the fruit 100-day. Yeah, great trades. There's some really good trades out there we've been posting. Let me know how I can help. And also, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for YouTube. You get the bell will ring, ding, ding, a ling, ding, ding, ding. When new videos come out. And I think it's pretty helpful for folks because, again, I think sometimes they're waiting. It's like you don't have to wait and you'll get notified. Also, thanks button if you want to donate to the channel. I appreciate all donations, even the smallest ones possible. Again, shows a energy of appreciation, and I'm appreciative of you guys. So, CME watch tool, we know going into next meeting, it's been fluctuating. There's no cut expected. But again, the only way we get more rate cuts, in my opinion, is more market down. It's going to do this on all these, isn't it? Barrel, 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 barrel. So Bitcoin, as we've talked about, I mean, again, if you're like been hazing on gold, Bitcoin has absolutely been not as well lately. I'm sorry, I'm trying to like type and talk. It's like drinking and driving. No, I'm just kidding. Not even close. It's a bad joke. Someone will haze me for that one. But no, we've talked about how it's just in a big chop zone. You get big up moves, you go into chop. These are all reoccurring patterns. I don't understand why people somehow think that they can defy the laws of gravity and physics. Like, this is what the market does. It's reoccurring patterns. Watch the 90s, 1,000, 9,000 level, and then just keep an eye on it. Again, if I had my best guess, this is acting more like tech stocks than gold is acting like, the SPY, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they liquidated 90,000 at some point. Oil, as we talked about, demand destruction is real. Inflation is going to come down. If Trump wants to get the Saudis to increase production, we'll see what happens. Again, I think there will be a drop in oil. We'll be in a straight line. We went from overbought, now we're slightly oversold. I wouldn't be surprised if we chopped a little bit before we made, consolidation patterns. Natural gas, again, long term, like it. Love to see this down in the lower price points. So if you have any questions, again, love oil, love commodities, We talked about this, materials, industrials, commodity stocks long term. But again, do not chase them. If you chase them, I will reach through this monitor that you're watching on our screen and slap you around. Don't do it. The dollar, as we talked about, has been stronger. It dropped on a gap down, and this gap down, if you go look at the Dixie, DXY, it wouldn't show that gap, but it's a gap based on X dividend. And since it's X dividend, so what do you think is happening? So add this back and look where we'd be. Higher highs, higher lows, but then we started to get into this funnel. Now we're making lower lows. Could we make lower highs, now lower lows? Keep an eye on it. Wouldn't be surprised. Look at the 200-day just sitting right there, like, come and get me. Bonds, Talked about if you bought this in the 88 range, stop is now the 20-day, or your entry in the 87s. Again, it's near term. It's probably waiting for the CPI data. I wouldn't be surprised if we backfilled some here. This could be interesting. And then the CPI data, we get the lift off. Again, I think the market will rotate money funds from stocks to bonds. And if I'm wrong, again, that's why you define your risk. You don't go nuts. You don't go absolutely bonkers here and say, I'm all in bonds. No, I mean, just do it. Do what you got to do to be safe. If you need to move out of things, cash is king. Remember? VIX. Here we go. I mean, here's the typical Friday, bottom, drop the rest of the week. Here you go. This one looks like it could be another wave. So VIX in the 20s at some point. Keep an eye on it. VIVIX, we talked about typically bottoms. It's been holding the 200-day. You got it, right? SPYs, we've talked about. I mean, it's just a big choppy pattern. Today's bar is not good. We talked about how the volume on the upside was just absolute trash. And then it all comes back, not all of it. It comes back pretty quickly with higher volume. You know, that seems to be the pattern here. You see lower highs. We're seeing lower lows. I mean, you could, man, this is just like a, again, I don't want to try to force draw anything, but it looks like a flag pattern of some sort. I mean, it's not perfect. See what I mean? This is where it's like, don't force it down. Ugh, I don't even want to do it. But you see what's going on here. Some consolidation. We'll see if it breaks out. I personally don't think it will. Qs, again, anyone who's buying tech, listen to me and listening closely. Do not buy tech for the long run. I'm telling you right now, it is lagging. There's about to be the transition long term. And not to say that some tech won't do well, but the overall tech sector, in my opinion, is absolutely insanely overvalued based on future growth. We've talked about this. And so as the S&P 500 made new highs, what did tech do, right? It just did nothing. Did nothing. So now watch the references. Again, up on light volume, down on heavier volume. We'll see what happens here. Get through earnings, maybe that's all it's waiting for. IWM, again, the seasonality, mid-February, not looking good. Look at this thing. Like, talked about choppy. Talked about this fake out and then closing at the 50-day. Look at opened on it. Again, small caps lead typically, and they're not leading up. They look like absolute butt. Don't say that. You want me to say ass? I don't know. It doesn't look good. DIA, again, we talked about Dow 30, whatever. Just watching it seems to be, again, making a lower high. Gold, keep it simple, stupid. Again, we've talked about liking gold for the long term. It is slightly overbought. I mean, it's probably going to wait around for the CPI, PPI data. Again, we like gold long term. If you disappear for a year from now, I guarantee that you will be happy about gold and silver, in my opinion. That's my, again, it's just I don't want to chase it. And this is what sucks. This is why we watch the levels. We bring out the charts for a reason, and levels matter. Volume at price matters. Seems to be the mid-29s. Not looking so hot. Got to get over it. GDX, we talked about the miners catching up. Okay, they started catching up. Catch up. They definitely catch up. Making higher highs off the lows, right? But we'll see. They should be up near all-time highs. That's where it gets a little funky. AEM, keep an eye on this one, right? This has been the leader, in my opinion, of the gold miners. AG, this has earnings coming up this week. Ugh. Heavy volume. Definitely heavy volume. Something's going on down here. Keep an eye on it. Newmont Mining. Again, this should be the leader. I mean, this used to be the leader. I mean, the biggest gold miner in the world. Talking about the 100, 200 day might be a little bit of a chop zone. At worst, there you go. Again, if you've owned this one from the mid-30s, like we talked about, you could buy it down here. Please roll up your stops. Find your risk. Don't just sit here and assume everything goes straight line move, pass, same kind of thing, chopping around. Let's get into tech, because this is where it gets freaking fun. Taiwan Semi, we talked about this is a big choppy mess. I don't really have great references on this, but look at today's bar. Opens high, closes low. That's considered an outside reversal bar. Outside reversal bars typically lead to lower prices. We'll see. Again, it's a probability-based game. Can't promise certainty, but again, it's like 80-something, 7.3%, something silly like that, where it's outside reversal bars lead to lower prices over time. And again, the more time out, it's obviously going to find anomalies, but near term, it's definitely a topping mechanism. Micron, crap. Again, anyone buying tech and semiconductors, I told you guys, I mean, short of 2025 is NVIDIA. People still gasp when I say that. I'm like, okay. Who traded the dot-com bubble? This guy did. Did you? No. Okay, cool. Did you trade the 2000? No. Did you trade? No. Exactly. Reoccurring pattern tendencies reoccur, right? AMD, I mean, look at that. You should be bouncing here. If it doesn't, Maybe it chops around to OPEX. I don't know. It looks like crap. NVIDIA said you could probably, not said, it's definitely, you can definitely short this here right now. Here is dead cat bounce, held the primary trend. Okay, cool. Watching the 20-day, watching this gap. It makes sense. Dead volume. Look at this. Smashed on volume, rises on lighter volume. Just again, the volume is dying as you increase or as you rise in price. That tells you something, right? It tells you the buyers are starting to dwindle. Now all it takes is one headline and this thing gets cooked. Just my opinion. SMCI going on record being like, I don't know what the fudge. This one's interesting because we've talked about, I mean, again, if you look out and you zoom out, right, it's definitely in a zone that makes sense to bottom. But here's the thing, right? I mean, their auditor quit. I'm not a big fan of that, but man, if you get over the 100-day, I don't know why you wouldn't get back up into the 47s, maybe the 200. Again, things that don't make sense sometimes, just, I don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. Don't overthink it, right? Intellectual property, again, everyone thinks this is going to get bought out. If you're buying this, it's not going to get bought out at a premium. Promise you, it's a piece of shit. Excuse my language. I mean, if it gets bought out at 21, 10% premium, I guess. All right, no, that's what you want. Okay. I wouldn't buy Intel with my enemy's money. That's just my opinion. AVGO, we talked about this one, acting strong on this blow-off gap and trap, making a range high, now making new range highs. Now you have a 3-mile island. Again, I like that term, Eric, if you're listening. I think that's a great reference because sometimes it's not 2-day ranges. They've started to make 3-day ranges the new thing, right? 3-day, 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 I don't know, 4-day, right? 3-day, I don't know. Anyway, we could argue this all the time, but look at this candle, right? So see what happens here. 50-day has been support, right? And orange, you better hold it. Wild candles, it's a hard one. SMH, nice bounce. Still, just if you zoom out, it looks like death. The death pattern, the chop top pattern. When does it break? I don't know. But you have lower highs, right? You just need to see if the lower lows one day be coming. In my opinion, they be coming at some point. Adobe, let's keep going. Let's speed this up. Talked about the 20-day being key. Here you go. Watching it. Apple, if you shorted this thing at our reference points, high five, 100-day, 20-day, blue zone. Talked about this is the death candle, right? Opens high, blow off for earnings. You get the dead cat bounce with the rally in the market. Watch these zones. Again, if it gets over the 100-day, you stop out. If it doesn't, you're looking good, homie. Amazon. We talked about all these earnings names holding. I mean, earnings been a crapshoot. Some of these, right? Here you go. Gaps down. I'd be on red alert because this is a professional gap, the start of a big down move. Be careful because look at this. Like, it's been on a freaking epic run, y'all. Check it out, right? Like, I don't know, where do you want to start this move? Right? Amazon. $80 stock up to 240s. Again, it's due to, at worst, just go sideways. Be careful. Again, I'm not saying it has to dump, but I'm telling you, do not buy tech for the long run. Trade it, but do not buy it for the long run. I'm telling you, Meta, same kind of thing. Holding up pretty well. I mean, look at these moves, folks. I get people going, I want to buy tech stocks. I'm like, are you fucking kidding? I mean, I hate to be like aggressive like that. Like, are you fucking kidding? CRM, double top. Looks like the great. Looks good to drop. Guggenheim. Right, Google has the great, what do you call it? What is it? Sector, not two. Quantum 2 chips. Then look at their earnings. Ooh. Right? Like, you would think it'd hold the 50. No. That's some old trend lines, but again, it's not what you expect if it's going to be strong, right? Like, people are like jumping in like time for tech. I'm like, no, get the fuck out. At worst, or manage your positions. Sell some calls, maybe sell some puts, deep money. I don't know. And I just personally think, again, the risk reward is not in your favor long term. NDAQ, we talked about shorting up here at the highs, the retest. Yikey. Outside reversal bar. Keep an eye on it. MSTR, again, this one looks like it's dead money till Bitcoin moves. If Bitcoin pulls back, I don't know why you wouldn't fill this gap here. Seems very likely. Netflix has been holding up pretty well. And it got close to 1030. Got to give credit where credit's due. The folks who were talking about this popping up, Jay and the homies with the options. Let's see if we get there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know. Keep an eye on that. Roblox. This one was like to buy it, but then it gets crushed on earnings. Now I'm like, no, sir. And again, this is what happens when you go big. You better hit everything out of the park. And this is why we talk about rolling up stops. You just never know. You go into earnings naked. Man, you lost 20% real quick. Whoosh. Right? If you'd have hedged, you're like, fuck yeah. Keep an eye on it. PanW trying to break out. Cybersecurity is an issue. Those are my favorite stocks in the tech sector. We'll see what happens here. That is just a weird candle on a Friday. I don't trust it. Tesla, we talked about it's due for a bounce. Man, that bounce lasted about a day. Still got a bounce, but look at that wick. Again, I personally have said this on record. Again, here's a big move up. Here's Tesla overvalued. It's going to go sideways to down for a while, and everyone gets mad at me when I say that, and then you go look at it weeks later. Those guys aren't around yelling at me anymore, and then it's like, well, look at that. Huh, how about them apples? How about them apples, Matt Damon? Matt Damon. Right? Keep an eye on this. Again, I'm not saying it has to get crushed, but the risk reward is not in your favor. I would not be going long these names. I don't know, man. Again, I think that's why tech is the easiest short. Insight earnings on Monday. Keep an eye on it. Man, that candle's a little fugly, right? Maybe somebody expect. I mean, they should miss. Okay, I mean, they had some like drugs that went out of patent, and they got some ones in the pipeline. But that's the thing, right? Oh, hymns. We talked about this blowing off the 2 times range. This is why you follow the channel. Look where it hit. Ding, 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 ding. Back off. Now, again, I mean, a lot of people are going, oh, they're going to kill it. They're going to... Dude, the stock just went killer. Now, not saying it can't go higher, but made sense if you shorted it at the 2 times range. I know they have a Super Bowl ad coming. Will the FDA even allow it? I don't know, man. They're trying to get into the weight loss sector. Where are they at? I mean, they're just a tad late. Right now, because we're all seeing all the studies that talk about, again, taking a pill to lose weight. It's stupid. If you actually want to lose weight, you got to change your habits. Now, and a lot of people might get mad at me for saying that, but it's not sustainable. If you have the same mindset, and say like me, back in the day, like, you know, if you have internal stuff, face your stuff versus stuff your face, I used to write that on my fridge, right? Like, learn, right? It's all internal. It's all wiring stuff. Again, giving a pill will not sustainable. Again, I think Again, I'm not saying this is necessarily long-term, but we talked about there was a short going at some point. Well, there you go. At worst, we're going to go into consolidation mode. Congrats. Palantir, same kind of thing. You got to be very careful on these blow-offs, right? Like, look at that. Breaking people's backs. I said watch these, I don't know, watch this green candle for more pain. This bar here now, again, I'm going to just throw that in there. I know there's a lot of lines up here. I'd be watching that field, because again, look at what it's, and not to say that it can't. Let's see, at worst you ride the 8 and 10 day, and if you pull back, I mean, you have to pull back at some point. Nothing goes in a straight line. Again, bulls, bears make money. This is where it's, again, if you want to hold it for the long term, you go right ahead. I don't care. Again, the Palantir army is strong. I would trade and manage your position, because it doesn't always go straight up. Oh, what do you miss some of the move? That's okay. That's part of the game, right? You're playing probabilities, not trying to hit a home run at every pitch. Like, think about baseball. Imagine if you try to swing out of your pants on every swing. Pitcher, I mean, you just lose. McDonald's chopping around 100-day. Sorry, just rants. This is what it is. DKNG chopping around. We like the short up here in the mid 42s. Airbnb has earnings coming up next week. Even on this, right? It's an interesting bar. Again, that 200-day has just been acting like a beast. Good old Costco. This one's been on fire. Talked about it, getting up to one of these fibs. I'd be very careful. That feels like a top. We talked about, at worst, it was going to be a double top. Maybe a head and shoulders top. I mean, this thing, again, this is where you got to zoom out, right? I want to buy Costco. You want to buy Costco now? No. Let it do it. Look at this thing. It's steep as fuck. Very exhaustive. Like, capitulation bull-wise. Like, there's no one left not to buy. Does that make sense? You got to be very careful. There's no one left to buy. Starbucks, again, I like the short up here. Just keeping an eye on it. Federal Express, again, things you don't see if the economy's strong. Right, things have just been dogging. Oversold bounce. Caterpillar, meow. Hits the 200-day, chopping around. Worth watching. DE Deer. Hey, Deer. Again, they have earnings coming up on Thursday. This thing has been on fire. I would personally just hedge it. Be careful. Nucor, again, we like steel stocks, but I want them to pull back. Makes sense? Hey, this is a real recording. Again, we like material names, but this is the thing, right? You want to buy tech way up in the freaking atmosphere, or you want to buy material names long run. I'm telling you, buy the material names, but don't chase them. Wait for the market to pull back. People to commit puking exercises. Blah, 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 blah. Give up. Look at X today, right? Yeah, I think they will get bought out. Keep an eye on it. VALE, Interesting, right? Coming off the range lows. Talked about this buying in the 8s. You're welcome, right? Keep an eye on it. It's definitely one of those things where I would be watching closely. Again, if you get another pullback, arrow, keep an eye on this one, right? What do you got here? Chopping at the lows. Again, I like junior copper long term. We talked about the CCJ again. If you like uranium, again, all pullbacks. The ag names, we like ag. Again, you got to eat. Look at these things. Let them pull back. Love it. Love it that they're getting crushed here and there. Come on back. Whatever the bottom needs to be. The bottom, as I call it. Let's bring it. Drop in AAPL. Keep an eye on this name. Again, we love aluminum long term. Do you love aluminum? I like aluminum. I think it goes in everything. You know, it's one of those lightweight metals that's going to be everywhere. XLF. Look at today's action. Man, this is so sneaky. Sneaky fucker. Right? I mean, it feels like it's topping out and then they're chopping up here and then just nothing. The volume is just dead. Keep an eye. Again, we talked about this. I've got some JP Morgan puts that are getting crushed. Got them out to June, whatever. That's fine. I define my risk because I'm like, I want to see the banks get slammed. If they don't, shit happens. Morgan Stanley, Bank of America. I mean, some work better than others. A lot of like inside days today. Goldman Sachs holding up really well. KRE, we talked about this one that got the bounce, and then man, is it a higher? I don't know. This one's tough. Again, you're trading probabilities here, not certainties. I mean, I will certainly be wrong. That's for damn sure. So we've talked about the XBI chopping around. Keep an eye on it. Jets. Impressive bounce. I mean, it seems to be holding the 50-day. Talked about the chop top. Let it be. XHB, the housing index, right? Like, this just doesn't look good, y'all. There's your top. I mean, those stocks have been just getting smoked out. I'm going to skip solar because I don't care. HYG, yeah, no one asks about solar. We talked about this. Going to be high to your mind to buy corporate debt. Oil, chopping around. Makes sense. It's due to bounce here, right? You're at the 250-day on the USO. I mean, it is oversold near term. UNG, things all over the place. I hate this product. KLD was the short in the 80s. Now let it pop. Again, I wouldn't necessarily go buying KLD, but again, I just let it go. XOP. And these names we talked about due to bounce this week. Got the bounce. Not much of follow through. We talked about how we needed to see the gasoline names like Valero and MPC follow through, giving up the moving averages. The 100-day for MPC, 200 on the Valero, not really looking that good. CVE, again, junior oil names. I like these long term. You're at some important areas, but let's see if they get cooking. BP, we've talked about this one being a buyout. Seems to be acting very good. Keeps looking good. Again, we talked about 200-day makes sense. Look at retesting, filling the gap. It's holding up really well. I mean, again, that's the thing. Watch the strength. ExxonMobil chopping around, not doing much of shit. Occidental, right? We like this. We know Buffett ain't going to lose. Talked about retesting the lows. Man, I'd be watching. And you got a reference here. If you want to buy Oxy and tight stop it, makes sense to me. But here's the thing. If the market gets cooked, this thing could blow out the stops and then come right back. That's where it's like, man, that's why it's so much easier when the VIX spikes and then you can buy names. EQT, this has been a leader. We talked about this one, and last but not least, Flex LNG, because I think we'll be natural gas exporters. Keep an eye on these names. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Always here to help. Hope you have a great weekend or having a great weekend. Go Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. EGLSEL. No, what was it? The mayor couldn't even spell Eagles. EAGLES. No, right? Or Eagles. IGGLES. Anyway, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Kansas City, hope you guys lose. Again, tired of this. I don't know. It seems like a soap opera. Maybe it'll end with Travis Kelce retiring, giving her the ring. All right, then they'll head to Disney World. Peace out. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, your PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.